snack to eat. Here you go. But I better start helping because if we go at their pace, we'll be here all night. These ones here aren't ready yet. If you notice, the pod's still pretty thin. You usually just leave those so that way the peas can get a little bit bigger, like this, so you can see the difference. The big ones always tend to be at the bottom. Did you check the bottom? Look at Jackpot. You could trellis these, but these are the upright version of peas. So they don't need a trellis.
Is this unready?
I don't think so.
Jackpot!
And you can't just pick peas. You gotta eat them too. Right, girls?
Yeah. You got the big taste. Are they juicy?
They're juicy. They sure are. Oh, look at these peas.
Can I see? I've done those ones.
Okay. This year was my first year growing potatoes, and they actually did super well. Because I grew them in a raised bed, I couldn't mound them as high as they needed to be. I could only go as high as I could without all of the dirt spilling out of the raised bed. If these guys are in the ground, you have to keep mounding them. Because I wasn't able to mound them as high due to planting them in a raised bed, I just won't have as many potatoes as you would if you were to grow them in the ground. But otherwise, I really have liked looking at this full raised bed the whole season. Let's take a look and see how those potatoes are going. Let's dig some up. As you can see, these potato leaves are starting to turn a little brown around the edging and going into more of a yellow color. That usually means that your potatoes are almost done. Once they're all the way yellow and the tops have almost died off, that's when they're completely done. But I'm getting a little anxious. So let's just go ahead and check. I'm gonna dig in there and see what's going on down below. Ooh, I feel a lot of them. So far I've got 3 potatoes. So I feel more below, but as you can see, I've got 3 potatoes. They're still pretty small. That pretty much tells you that they still need quite a bit of time, and that's why you need to wait until these almost all the way die off. Once these die off, that tells you that the potato is completely done, because if you can see, the roots were still going. They were attached to these potatoes, so it was still growing and they were still getting bigger. So we are just going to leave those plants for now, and I might as well try these little guys here. So here's one of my sections that I have onions in, and they're not ready yet, but you can start eating them even at an early stage. If you see this one here, it's starting to get like the onion ball. You could pull that right now and eat it. It would be a smaller onion, but it's still edible right now. Here are my carrots, and they're so bushy. Let's take a look at what they look like right now under the ground. With carrots, you just want to loosen them up a little bit. Now I know that they're not ready yet, but let's just go ahead and loosen them up and just take a look at what's going on down there. So these ones are sugar snack sticks. That's the name of the variety. All right, and they look like little pencil carrots. Look at that. They still have quite a ways to go. Because they're actually seeded pretty close here and they all grew in close, I don't mind if the kids go in and grab one, and as long as it's from an area where there's more of a cluster, because otherwise if they're this close growing the rest of the way, they're not going to be a full-size carrot. So if you want to pull a few out to separate them out a little bit, I would just do that and enjoy a quick little thin carrot snack in the beginning. These peas are almost retired, so once they're all completely done making peas for us, then I'm going to pull it out, work it up in here, and then we'll plant something else. Right here I've got my tomatoes, and I have them in tomato cages, and as they kept growing, I kept intermixing the growth into the tomato cage because they kept wanting to spurt out. But I wanted them to be caged really nice along the base of the plant, so then it gets caged and then comes out on the top. Now as you can see, there's a lot coming off on the bottom here. Let me show you what I do with those. Now if I was just growing these in the ground, I would just leave them. I don't stake them or anything. But when they're growing in here, I like them to be a little bit more controlled so they don't take over everything. And they grow better when you actually do what I'm about to show you, and that is just pruning your tomato plant. So see these growths right here coming off of the bottom of the tomato plant? These actually can get clipped off. And once those are clipped off, it's not gonna hurt your plant. It's gonna actually help it produce more tomatoes on the big growth of the plant. And I just clip it off right up to the actual tomato stem, all the way in. So then that way, there's no way that there can be any more growth off of that stem. If I see some really bad leaves, I actually take those to the stem as well. Over here, these are some of my peppers. I grew some in the ground as well, but my peppers are actually looking really terrible. They definitely have a pest. If I look inside of the flower, I see thrip. So that means that I have to get rid of it. Before you spray them, you want to remove a lot of the bad leaves off of the plant. So it may end up looking a little sparse, but this is good because this will help eliminate additional pests that could come after you spray, like a couple weeks down the road, and then that way you don't have to touch the leaves after you spray. So once you get all those leaves, you throw them in your bucket and you throw them far away from the garden because you don't want them close to your garden because that's just like inviting them right back. Now if you notice, after I cleaned them up, tilled them up, and watered them, they actually don't look too bad. So I'm gonna wait a day or two on the spray that I'm gonna spray on there, just to see. This guy here is vining. I don't know what it is yet. It has a smaller flower, which a lot of times tells me that it's gonna be some type of a cucumber or pickle. It usually has a larger flower if it's going to be a melon. So if I'm wrong later on, well, I'm wrong then. So what I'm gonna do is just make sure it's not tangling up into anything. You wanna really control it right in the beginning so it doesn't tangle into everything and then you lost all of your other stuff around it. So that's the thing about planting things close, is you will have to control it in order to have success with everything around it. I'm just gonna call it a vine. With this vine here, I just kind of stopped it from growing onto this container next to it. I don't want it to grow onto my flowering container. I'm gonna scooch it over without breaking it, so nice and gentle. And then this vine over here is kind of growing on some pepper plants. So I'm gonna kind of untangle that, untangle it from over here, and lightly pick it up and kind of just move it this way. So that way it knows just to vine off of the front. Oops. I snap the top. Wherever you snap it, take off that breakage. Otherwise, if it stays there, it's gonna turn into dead leaves, which promotes bad bugs. So I'm gonna go with saying that this is a pickle, because I see a pickle here. You gotta see it. There he is. He's tiny, but he's there. You just wanna make sure it doesn't grow into everything. See, it's even up on my snaps and my beautiful yellow Biden over there. So we're just gonna move it over there, and I'm gonna move this one over through the middle through some leaves. And there we go. And I found a little weed in there. Grab that weed, pull it out. Grab those weeds, pull them out, and we're good. Got some really nice Brussels already starting. I take off all the bad leaves around the bottom, and as they keep getting bad, I just keep taking off the leaves. And that's why they look so nice and maintained with no bad leaves on them. I cleaned up my zucchini plant. So all I did was cut off all of the really low bottom leaves that were growing on the ground that turned brown anyway. Got rid of those, and you can look inside and see that there are actually quite a few zucchinis coming now. And I see a couple bugs in there that are not good. These guys here are no good. We'll have to spray to get rid of those guys. But as you can see, the zucchini is coming pretty nicely. Jason's excited.
Oh, look at this.
Tomatoes, lots of tomatoes.
Yeah, don't pull that pepper off, okay? She's getting excited about those peppers. It is, isn't it? Jason's cherry tomatoes.
Yep. There's lots of little ones coming up. Here.
He's waiting. He's waiting.
What you doing over here?
I'm eating peace.
Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the Lawrence Network. We'll see you guys.